How Queen Elizabeth escaped 5 murder attempts before her death. The life of royalty is quite posh. You are not required to clock in, you don't report to anyone, your country pays for all of your housing expenses and your wages. The rare assassination attempt pales in comparison to all of that. Actually, it might be a trifle more. Royalty has a propensity for igniting their subjects' passions. Undoubtedly, some people would give anything to spend a quiet, private moment with their king or queen, while others would like to overthrow the entire regal system. Elizabeth Windsor, Queen Elizabeth II, is the most well-known royal. She held the title of queen in 14 other nations in addition to the United Kingdom. That implies that she put in a lot of travel time to show everyone why her profession is valuable. Unfortunately, assassins would find all of those public appearances to be desirable targets. The Lithgow plot. During one of the Queen's visits to Australia in 1970, there was the first known attempt on her life. She traveled there to take part in the bicentennial festivities of James Cook's discovery of Australia and the UK. A sizable log was discovered covering the tracks close to a rail bend while the Queen and her husband, Prince Philip, were traveling across the nation by train. They were passing through the town of Lithgow at the time. Because a sweeper train had passed through the region an hour earlier and discovered nothing, the officials are confident it wasn't an accident. According to one theory, whoever placed the log on the tracks, perhaps IRA supporters, intended for the train to serialize. For the Queen's benefit, the train was moving slowly enough to keep it on the rails. Until a former detective who worked on the case came out in 2009, the incident had gone unreported. He said that it was concealed at the time to spare Australia's reputation. Trooping the Colour incident. The Queen was the target of a second assassination attempt in London in June 1981. The Queen was mounted on her horse, Burmese, and the Trooping the Colour parade, which commemorates the official birthday of British monarchs, had just started. Marcus Sargent, a disgruntled 17-year-old with a starter pistol loaded with 6 shots, was in the crowd. All 6 shots were fired as the Queen passed by. Fortunately, they were all blanks, so nobody was harmed. Despite being spooked, the Queen's horse soon regained control. Sargent, for his part, was quickly subdued by police and onlookers. He was detained, found guilty, and given a 5-year prison term. After calming her horse, Queen Elizabeth II resumed the march as if nothing had happened. Why would a random teen act in such a drastic manner? It seems he was motivated by a desire to become famous, and was motivated by the recent assassination attempts on Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II. Trip to New Zealand. The Queen was in Dunedin, New Zealand, on the South Island a few months after the Trooping the Colour affair. She had just gotten out of her car and was heading to a museum when a single shot could be heard. The culprit was Christopher Lewis, a second disgruntled 17-year-old who had hidden himself in an adjacent building's 5th-floor restroom. He carried a .22 rifle, but fortunately he missed and had no chance of hitting the Queen. The gunfire was heard by the media who were covering the event, but they were informed that it was only a street sign toppling over. The New Zealand authorities did not want the Queen's assassination attempt to be made public, similar to the 1970 incident in Australia. Its existence was just made known in 2018. Lewis was a problematic adolescent. He had a history of setting things on fire and torturing animals, and he also had a bizarre preoccupation with the royal family. He tried to escape jail in 1983 to kill Prince Charles when he visited New Zealand. The authorities transported him more than 600 miles away when the Queen returned in 1995, so he wouldn't have the chance to go anywhere near her. Surprise visitor. Queen Elizabeth II discovered an unauthorized intruder in her bedroom one morning in July 1982. He held a jagged piece of glass with his own blood on it in his hand. Despite raising the alarm and summoning the police, assistance did not arrive for almost 10 minutes. Michael Fagan, a divorced, unemployed Londoner, was the intruder, and it wasn't his first time breaking into Buckingham Palace. He had disturbed a maid a month earlier, set off numerous alarms, consumed a bottle of wine, and enjoyed some nibbles in the royal residence. Fagan claimed that all he needed was to find a restroom. Just one day after being let out of jail for auto theft, he made his second incursion into the castle. This time, he managed to enter the Queen's room when she was still asleep in the exclusive royal apartments. Fagin had plenty of chances to hurt the Queen, but he was more there as a lark than with any malicious intent. The smashed ashtray outside the Queen's rooms was the source of the blood and the glass, already stated. Revenge and a crossbow. Her Majesty was the target of a recent attempt on her life in 2021. On Christmas morning, a crossbow and a 19-year-old man called Jaswant Singh Chail were discovered outside Windsor Castle. Before he could enter any buildings, he was swiftly apprehended. A Snapchat video that he had shared with his buddies surfaced in the media a few days after he was detained. In it, he declared that he would assassinate the Queen on Christmas in retaliation for the 1919 Jallianwala Bagh massacre, in which British troops massacred up to 1,000 Indians. On September 8, 2002, at the age of 96, Queen Elizabeth II passed away quietly at Balmoral Castle after numerous attempts on her life throughout the years.